Is this thing on? Hello? That's a joke. This isn't my real microphone. How's it going, Sudsers? Happy New Year. It is the 2025 year, which is year 5 content, and I've been gone for a minute and arguably most of 2024. And you know what? It was great. I was able to get through 2024 in one piece. I had a lot of really fun adventures. The last time I left you, I think I was on my way to New Orleans to see Kaylee and the Eras tour, and I did that. That was awesome, epic, the best thing ever. But then we had Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of the things. The kids were in a play. They were in Adam's Family. Yeah. Scout was Pugsley, and so she got put on a torture chamber. It was very cool. It was a very, very cool time for sure. But those stories are 2024 news. It's old news. We are here. It is 2025. We are starting new content. I'm very, very excited for this year's content and all the things that we're going to be doing. But I couldn't really end 2024 or year 4 or whatever without doing 10 days of thanks with the Sudsers. And so that's what we're going to be doing for the next 10 videos, probably, and I will tell you more about it in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And as I said, you're here for year 5. Happy freaking New Year. New Year, same mess of a human that I am. But you know what? Everything's under control. And we are going to be doing some really fun content for year 5. And we're going to kick it off with 10 Days of Thanks. Now, for those of you who may not know, who might be new to the channel or what have you, 10 Days of Thanks is something that I actually started at the beginning of my business, of the Soap and Clay business, wherein every year for what was originally just website and then moved to website plus retail, like brick and mortar. And now it's 3 different versions, website, retail, and then the Sudsers here on the YouTubes, where for 10 days I would give away 10 items, right? Every day was a different item, and they were like big items. It wasn't usually just like, here's a soap, right? It was like, here's an entire set of the Pokemon bath bombs, or an entire set of like the Taylor Swift soaps, or in this case, an entire set of the 12 months of soap. So that's what we're going to be doing for the Sudsers for the next, like I said, 10 videos. So here's how this is going to work. Every day, I'm going to show you the soaps that I ultimately put in my 12 months of soap packaging for the stuff that we done on the website. And every day, I will also post a photo that accompanies the video. And the Sudsers, the membered Sudsers, will have access to and will see that photo. And so what you will need to do is follow the instructions contained within the post, the photo, what have you. And you will be in the running for one of the 10 sets that I have available for the 12 months of soap set giveaway. So it'll be all 12 soaps for all 12 months of 2024, really focusing on everything that we did within the year's content, certainly, but all the stuff that I also didn't get a chance to edit and put online. So all of the different infusions that we did, when we did deep dives on things like sea moss or carrot or rose or what have you, that's what all of those bars represent. So it's going to be a really fun time. So make sure for the membered Sudsers to be on the lookout for that post and follow the instructions within all of that. You will be entered, and we will announce all of the winners at the end of all of this, and I'll ship it all out to you. Couple rules. First rule, you have to be an American Sudser. Super sorry, but we're not doing any overseas shipping, and I don't even know what's going on with Canada right now. Do you guys have a post yet? I saw that the Canada, USPS or whatever went on strike like the day of Black Friday or something. So cheers to all my Canadian Sudsers that do businesses and we're able to hopefully get your packages out and whatnot. But that sounds pretty wild. But yeah, so that's rule number 1. And rule number 2 is be awesome. Rule number 2 is just be awesome. You know, that's it. Those are the only rules that I can think of. Yeah, that seems right. So today's video, we are going to focus on soap number 4 in the 12 months of soap. I know it's kind of confusing, but we actually already did soap 1, 2, and 3 in 2024 content, January, February, March. So this is April's bar, and I am playing with sea moss within this one. My sea moss journey was a very interesting one for sure. Had a lot of help from a lot of the sudsers who work with sea moss and love sea moss. And so by the end of all of that, I learned a lot about sea moss, just generally, you know what I mean? And decided that I was going to include it in some of my soaps for mostly my wholesale accounts, but I definitely wanted to include it within the 12 months of soap, set, because obviously, it was a journey we went on together. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We will be sticking with the same design that I have done for all of the soaps for the 12 months of soap. So it's a 3-layer soap, equal parts for each layer. And then the third layer, instead of being a solid color, it's a 3-color swirl. And so I'm trying to pull the colors from the previous bar into the next, at least one of the colors. So everything sort of continues on and tells a nice color story. I don't know. We'll see how I end up doing with all of it. You guys obviously can weigh in and give me your opinions. But for now, let's go to my first video of 2025, which is April of 2024's soap. Okay, it is the April soap in January of 2025, and this was actually the April soap for April of 2024. And I am going to remake all of these soaps. I did a ton of footage. I filmed a ton of content during 2024 that ultimately didn't get edited and, out to the peoples. And it was for every month that we did something different within our, soapy deep dive within different ingredients. And April was going to be a sea moss soap because I quite liked working with sea moss for the whole sea moss month that we did. And we're starting with April, obviously, because January, February, and March, they're already done. They are on the channel. We did that. And so you'll see them at the end of this video in relation to this particular soap, because the theme and the design is all the same across all of the soaps. So with this one, we will be using sea moss as an infusion into the lye solution. I'm also putting in some soap nuts in it just to increase the bubble. I have had some problems with lather for sea moss soaps, and the scent will be Palo Santo from Sierra Candles. I love doing my 12 months of soap project. I've been doing it every year since I started the business. So gosh, 10 plus years at this point. I mean, is that right? I don't even know. Anyway, I've been doing it every year. So as a gift set at the end of the year to do a giveaway for the online sudsers. So the sudsers that shop at the website, as well as the sudsers, or as well as just something to sell, for the holiday season. And I really like doing it because it gives me an opportunity to play with the designs that I really like throughout the year, as well as to really showcase and highlight all of the beautiful scents that I got to play with. And so with this particular one, the Palo Santo from Sierra Candles, it's delightful. It's a nice, clean, neutral, beautiful scent. Love it a lot. Very potent. You can mix it with so many different things if you would like. For this one, I'm going to just make it, as is. And I will be using, for the dark green portion of this, so the bottom as well as a third of the swirl within the middle, will be a mixture of the ultramarine blue from Brambleberry and the chrome green, both pigments, both from Brambleberry. And I'm doing this because I want to get rid of all of Brambleberry's colors, because they're labels. They do the thing. You know that they do the thing. They wear off really easily. So that's the green chrome. And I'm using it basically in equal parts for this, maybe a little bit more green than blue. And I want to mix these two to create, because I don't really like the green chrome in and of itself. I need it to get slightly more blue because the March bar has some blue-green tones within all of it. And for within this design and this theme, I like to pull one color from the previous bar into the next bar, so it all ends up thematically kind of going together. if that makes sense. I mean, obviously, I guess the design itself it's all the same. So it would be fine if they were all different colors, but this is also a way for me just to sort of like cohesively tell like a color story or something when it's all said and done. And so it'll be fun to see how I do this and how I go from the, you know, beginning of the year, which was, I believe, a blue, pink, and white bar for the January 2024 bar to, I think, probably a red, a green, and a white for December, and all the jazz. So you can see how I managed to go from that point to that in 12 months. It's a good time. Now, here I am with my whisk doing the things that you should not do when trying to mix pigments. This is not the best way to do this at all. I highly recommend taking your stir stick to it if it's a larger amount, or getting one of those little milk frother things, those little handheld guys, and using that, because that is going to be the best way to make sure that these heavier weight pigments really disperse really beautifully. Now, as you can see with the micas, we don't really have a problem with it. It's just about an ounce of oil that I've poured off from the total batch here to disperse my colors in, and the micas are so lightweight that it really doesn't matter, and they will disperse really easily. You could actually just put these into your emulsified soap batter if you would like, but for the pigments, you definitely want to make sure that they are nice and dispersed within an oil, really blended well, no little speckles. The speckles, obviously, they're not going to hurt you as far as like getting on your skin and causing cancer, and people that think that are weird, but they are going to potentially stain washcloths. And so we don't want that. So with this particular oil batch, as I said, the sea moss itself is going into the lye as an infusion. I'm going to be putting soap nuts in that as well. The oils themselves, this is my big bubble blend. And so it is 30% coconut oil, 30% palm, 30% olive oil, 5% castor, and 5% shea. So a lot of hard oils within all of this. And obviously a lot of kaolin clay that goes into this as well. Now, for the kaolin clay, I've done it a whole bunch of different ways on the channel. I have found that the way that I have done it for the past few years, I suppose, is ultimately the best way for me. And that is to say, I mix everything into the soaping oils, make sure it's really well blended before I put my lye solution in. Now, I do that for a number of reasons. First up, I soap at a water, it's a higher water percentage than most people use. It's 2.4 times water to lye. And I do that because I use so much kaolin clay. And because I'm putting so much kaolin clay within all of these soaps, I really want to make sure that my water percentage, my water content is higher, so the soaps don't get overly thick. And I have seen some very ridiculous and stupid and wrong things online. I've actually fought with them in soap making forums about how using anything more than 2 times water to lye will yield a failure of a bar. And to them, I have said that they're stupid and they should leave me, certainly. But I probably said other things. But whatever. Anyway, so with this extra, the reason why I put the kaolin clay into the oils as opposed to just like dispersing it in water and then putting it in later is because I already have a lot of water within my soap. And so I don't want to add more. Now, we have done tests to see how much water is too much. Those have been done. You can go check them out and you can see what happens when you go under a 1-to-1 ratio water to lye, which for newbies, if you don't know, that's all you ever need is a 1-to-1. You need as much water as you do lye in order for the reaction to occur without things getting tricky. But I also did a video on what happens when you put just, less than that 1-to-1 ratio of water to lye into your soap. And also what happens when you do a crap ton. So way more water to lye. So definitely go check those out. Ultimately, what's going to happen with something like that, it's not going to yield a bad bar. It's not going to yield a bar that performs poorly or disintegrates in the shower faster. It is going to yield a bar that is going to take longer to cure. For my bars, I don't have that problem because I make clay soaps, not just regular soaps. They're clay soaps, copious amounts of clay, usually kaolin, but I like to play with a lot of different types of clay. Speaking of a lot of different types of clay, I could have put bentonite clay into the dark green portion, and it would have been a double whammy with all of the awesome. But I decided not to with all of that. I was just working with colorants. The aforementioned, I want to get rid of my colors from Brambleberry. So that's what I'm working through. Now, as you can see with that, when I was working towards my emulsion, it took a really long time. Now, I am sitting here telling you that I used 2.4 times water to lye, right? So one would expect that it would take longer to trace, and that is true. That is definitely true. But when you factor in the amount of solid oils that I have in here with the coconut, the palm, and the shea, as well as the castor oil being a thicker and a very unique fatty acid, it should, and usually, especially because of the kaolin clay, it usually does mean that my actual trace, my emulsion, it hits really, really fast. This batter is still incredibly thin. I soaked the oils at around 105 degrees. The lye was left out overnight, so it was very cold. So the lye was around 65 degrees. The oils were around 105 degrees. So there's another little, thing that you can do. You don't have to soak your oils and your lye solution within 10 degrees of each other. It's just best practices, especially for newbies in the soap making world, just to make sure that you don't get what's known as false trace. False trace is when your soap gets super thick, super fast, and you can actually see it thanks to the glass, the Pyrex that I'm using at the bottom of your container when that occurs. And sometimes people can freak out thinking they're about to get soap on a stick. But if you trust the process and you just understand that that's not going to happen, everything's going to be fine, and you continue to work through, you'll hit your proper emulsion, your batter will loosen up because it does start out kind of thick, and you'll be able to soap, business as usual. As I said, I did not do that though, and I still ended up with super thin batter. So what's the reason for that? How do? Why did? All that kaolin clay, all those heavy oils, those solid oils, why is my batter still so super thin? The reason that it's so super thin is I have found that with the sea moss soaps, for whatever reason, it really takes a long time to hit an emulsion. A lot longer than I'm used to, for sure. And I find that very interesting. I immediately, or initially rather, assumed that the sea moss was going to operate very similarly to a salt bar, which is to say it's going to thicken up very quickly, and you can only do so much with it before it gets very, very thick and you're just plopping it into the mold. And so I was expecting that. And so that's why I had everything sort of pre-prepped and ready to go with all of my colorants and everything beforehand, thinking that, well, this could go really, really badly. But it's not the case because it's a sea moss soap. Sea moss soaps, for whatever reason, as I said, the emulsion takes a while to get there, which is great for some purposes, right? If you're doing a really complicated design that requires really thin batter, like like a tiger stripe, or like a column pour, or like uh the funnel pours, or the pull throughs, which still suck, by the way, or thin lines. You definitely want a thinner batter to get you through all of that, but so much of design is going to be about the consistency of the batter. And with this particular design, since we're doing a 3-layer, each layer is equal parts, so 18.6 ounces in each layer. I really want that bottom layer of the green to be thick enough that it's setting up in the mold nicely before I pour these top layers on. Otherwise, I'm going to be dealing with really, really thin batter that's going to break through the skin of the bottom layer. As you can see, it's kind of what's happening here. And so I kind of decided to take a very light hand with the container, the Pyrex, very, very close to the surface of the soap here, just gently kind of drizzling it on, much like you would do with like a thin lines pour or something to that effect, just to really get a layer of each of the colors in. Now, once I can easily gently cover the green and I don't see any of the base green anymore, then I can be a little bit more heavy-handed with the way that I'm pouring, but not by much. And so and again, that is if I want these 3 layers to be independent. And I do. Actually, that's kind of the point of these 3 layers. I would like the nice swirly bit to be in the middle and the top and the bottom to be nice solid colors with a really good line to separate the 3 parts. Now, this would be really, really sad and just kind of heartbreaking if I was doing this and I just laid a mica line down or some contrasting color of cocoa powder or the like between the layers to really make them stand out from each other. We've done so, I think, oh gosh, I don't even remember the last time we did it. It may have been like the holiday or the fall bars from 2023. So year 3, 4, 2 content. I don't know. And as you can see, I decided to swap out the way that I'm laying the colors into the mold at this point. Why? I really have no idea. Again, what I'm going for is a nice swirl here, so it's probably better to do like an in the mold swirl just with your standard S curve once the batter gets thick enough so it can actually hold on its own. But probably what I was doing with all of this was I was probably assuming that since the bottom was so thin, they're going to kind of muddy together and I'm not going to get a really nice swirl regardless. What I should do at this point, after all of the colors in the mold, is take a skewer or a hanger and make sure that all of these colors actually kind of marry together and swirl properly. I don't believe I did that for this one either though. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. For the sudsers that are, our membered sudsers, if you have not yet received a video, you will be receiving one very soon, and you are going to know why I'm kind of talking about design, because that's not a thing that Mrs. Soap and Clay does. I don't do that. I'm the queen of, you just get the soap to like 90% and like the customer's brain fill in the rest. You know what I mean? But no, I'm very interested in design this year, and I am trying to get good at it. So I guess I just told everybody what the preferred sudsers, the membered sudsers are gonna know. But I didn't tell you the rest of it, so it's fine. Anyway, point is, I don't know why I mixed up the design in all of this. I want this to be sort of a consistent thing, and I got bored, question mark. I mean, you see how this white is pushing. I decided now I'm just gonna run the edges, right, to get the top layer on. And that can work. It works better if it's a wall pour, but kind of doing it from each side, because you see how it's moving the soap underneath around, kind of squishing it to the middle, because again, all of the soap batter is still so very thin. Now, because the soap batter was so thin, I suppose I could have just left for a while, just walked away from my counter and let everything thicken up before I moved on to these steps, but I got things to do. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna let soap batter sit. But with this, it looks like I could potentially get like the top of a teardrop in the middle there, because that green, yellow, and white mix, that's still on the top. I have poured basically the bulk, so basically the entire 18 ounces of that white soap onto the top of this, and I still saw that green combo right to the very end. Could be fun in the finished product, you know what I mean? But again, if that's not what I'm going for, and I'm looking for 3 separate colors, or 3 separate layers rather, then I messed it all up with like 6 different techniques in one. Is it actually a fail? Of course it's not a fail. It's still soap, and it's still going to be beautiful and unique and awesome no matter what. It's going to smell nice. It's going to perform beautifully. But as far as technique goes, it's a big ol' F, because I switched the technique like 6 times in the middle of the pour. We're going to stop this. We're going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop doing this. Probably. You guys are going to hold me to it in 2025. I don't know if I've been saying that it's 2024, but that's kind of what we do, on the first day of the year. We still pretend that it's, or forget that whatever, you get it. Anyway, I painstakingly put all of the soap batter that was left over on top of the bar, and I left that in for you. I usually don't. I don't like the tedious of scraping all of the soap containers, but somebody commented on one of my videos, an old video, but a recent comment that's like, I don't know, essentially saying that I'm gaslighting. I get that comment too much. Like, she did a cut. Yeah, I did a cut. So you don't have to see all of it. Some of it's messy and annoying, you know? And here it is, another whole video cut because we're on to the second day. This went in it sat in an oven. It was C-popped. It was gelled. It sat up overnight. Set up even overnight. Yeah, it's great. So shiny. It's beautiful. That top is beautiful. I like it. But I cut all that out. And that is to say, by me saying I cut it all out, what I mean by that is I didn't record that. I didn't record the soap just doing nothing. It's not me gaslighting you. Anyway, people are weird online. I've decided that they're all bots. So on to the cut of all of this. As I said, C-popped, gelled, all the jazz. First up, the scent is potent, buddy. So potent. Any scent that I actually bother to show on Sierra, from Sierra Candles or from anywhere, probably, unless I'm just doing random tests, is one that I recommend you get because it kind of ticks all the boxes. There's no acceleration, no weird discoloration, or if there is weird discoloration and or acceleration, it's a really potent, strong scent, and it's beautiful of enough of a scent that all of that doesn't matter. And so, yeah, this one is no exception. As I said, Palo Santo, it's a very true on Palo Santo even. It has very earthy tones to it and very clean. It's very, very clean. It can be earthy and clean at the same time. That's a thing. Also a thing is just, here I am. I'm just going to cut the whole loaf slowly. I finally showed you one. There you go. So yeah, we definitely have like a version of like a thin layers, pointy layers thing on the bottom. Yeah, because the soap batter was so thin. And then everything else is just like a nothing burger. There's no swirls. It's just kind of sitting on itself. So not exactly what I was going with, not exactly what I want. And we got little marks on my soap there. You can see them. They're not steric spots. They're not lye spots. They're not any kind of spots. It's bubbles because I cut my soap too soon. If you would like to avoid those bubbles in your soap, don't cut it as soon as I did. That's it. That's the whole thing that you can do. But apparently I'm going to go back and just slowly cut this loaf of soap again and not show you any of the colors or designs or patterns. Love that for me. I also love that I don't know, why do I do this? The answer to that is I really don't know, but I tend to be this. I'm like careful and stuff. I had this idea that I would do single cutter soap cuts for the YouTube videos, and I film from a different angle so I can do shorts and stuff. But I don't ever do shorts. That's a whole second thing to do, you know? 2025 is the year that I'm going to do it though. Sure. Oh, so speaking of, I do see there on the right now of that bar, I suppose, just in the right corner-ish, and on the left side there. Yeah, there you go. Do you see how that soap kind of did end up, the batter, the color, ended up kind of doing its little whooshy whoosh thing into the white? Ultimately, I don't hate that. I really don't. It's fine. It's a good color. It definitely says, hi, this is sea moss, because it's green. That's the reason. It's because it's green. But yeah, no, when I cut bars regularly and you guys are not around, I'm not nice to these bars. You know, it's just boom, 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 just slamming through. See, you can see the little speckles from the ultramarine blue. See, I didn't mix it well enough. Do the things that I don't do, okay? Get your thing out. It's okay. You can do that. You can get out your little milk frother. It'll be a good time. Everybody will have fun with it. And your pigments will be really well blended and you won't end up with those spots. But a couple of you at least are going to end up with the bar that has a whole bunch of spots because we're doing a giveaway on these guys. So definitely, member Sudsers, go check that out. So anyway, that's what's going on so far in the year, January, February, March, and April. That's bar 4. And we'll be moving on to bar 5, tomorrow, so we can keep going with 10 days of thanks. And there it is, April soap. And yeah, it's gorgeous. I like it. Obviously, though, when I was doing all the super thin lines and everything, it just kind of ended up looking like a nothing. And if I want the swirls in the middle, then I need to be actually using swirl stuff, you know? And so let's see if I manage to do any of that for any of the rest of the bars. But for now, that one, as I said, it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful soap. It says that it's sea moss, it's green, it has all the, ticks all the boxes for that. Smells delightful. Palo Santo is a great scent. If you do not have a Palo Santo in your line, or you're looking for something that's really easy to blend with a whole bunch of different scents. And when I say whole bunch, I mean whole bunch. You can blend that with the obvious, with sandalwood, with nag champa, with your dragon's blood, with eucalyptus, with mints, but you can also blend it with really sweet scents. So definitely, if you have not tried that, I suggest picking it up and giving it a try for sure. If you're interested in winning this soap plus 11 more, make sure that you're a membered Sudser. Make sure that you are over on the community tab and follow the directions in the post when that one goes up. And may the odds be ever in your favor. If you're interested in the bar on its own, you can't do it. It's this is just exclusively this batch of soap that I made is just for this giveaway. So all of the soaps are gone. They're done. 2024 is over. But you can see all of my favorites that I did in 2024, and 10 of you can own all of them for the cost of free. How fun is that? Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's fun being back. I have some really cool stuff planned, not only for the channel in general throughout 2025, a lot more videos, a lot more content for sure, because I like the way that we're doing it. This year, I have a new plan, whatever. And also some really fun members only content that I hope you enjoy. And I think you're going to. And it's going to start with a mess that is not at all soap or cosmetics related or science related to that. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be pretty fun, probably, Anyway, I'm going to go. I have to, make sure that this gets into the video and then get the video up and then get the thumbnail done and then get the post up for the community. There's a lot of steps that I have to remember to do again, and that's kind of hard because I haven't been here since like October. So I'm going to go. I hope you guys all are having the best new year. I love you guys so much. I saw in the Discord for the member Sudsers just a lot going on as far as all the different holiday events and everything that they're doing with new business startups or getting everything ready for the small business, declarations and all of the jazz. And so, yeah, it can be a lot. So I'm hoping to get through some of that a lot with you and, come back to be your voice in the background. You're weird and random and sometimes confusing, but probably mostly a good time for the people who like me, voice in the background for lots and lots. That cat scared the shit out of me. Okay. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow for. As I said, I will be back tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye. I have got to stop filming in here. There are two dogs, cats come and go. This is getting crazy. I need an at-home space, like just a filming space.